The United States is rushing toward World War III, and while a lot of people might not believe that a draft is coming, search trends online tell a completely different story. Now, just to add a little bit of context, it's been like 5 decades since the last draft, and it's obvious that the all-volunteer option that the US military has pushed for has failed remarkably. Now, stick around until the end of this video because I got some shocking footage that shows just how unhinged things are in the country right now and how the government doesn't seem to be listening to the American people.
Not everybody gets to meet the boss their first day on the job.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me.
But these brand new members of the armed forces got to meet Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin as he marked a major milestone.
But 50 years ago this week, the United States stopped drafting citizens into service and turned instead to an all-volunteer force.
It was created at the end of the Vietnam War to replace the widely unpopular draft. But former Secretary of Defense Mark Esper says the all-volunteer force is showing its age.
The all-volunteer force is on a long, slow decline due to a number of demographic and cultural trends that need to be arrested, or else we will find ourselves in a tough situation years down the road.
According to Pentagon statistics, only 1 in 4 young Americans meets the mental and physical requirements to join.
Lower your heels down to the ground.
Making it increasingly difficult for the military to find enough volunteers to fill the ranks.
Ready, stretch.
The Army has started a prep camp for those who want to join but can't meet the standards. But Corey Shockey of the American Enterprise Institute says there needs to be a more basic change.
The standards that we set for admission to the military have become increasingly onerous.
Does it mean that our military should lower its standards? Now, just to make it clear, this footage was from some months ago, and now we're in a little bit of a pickle.
The U.S. military is facing a growing recruiting shortfall, a shortfall so large that legislators are getting concerned.
The Army has to recognize that there's been an evolution in that young population, and if you're going to target that young population for service, you've got to make it appealing to them.
The pool of potential recruits has been dropping for years.
So the 3 biggest reasons for a small pool of eligible recruits are criminal backgrounds, healthcare and obesity specifically, and financial issues.
The Army and the other military services this year are facing what they're describing as the most challenging recruiting environment since the all-volunteer force era began in 1973.
The latest figures show that only about 23% of young men and women in the United States meet the criteria to join, whether that's physical fitness, health, criminal background check.
Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are obviously very concerned about the military's recruitment efforts because this is coming at a time where Russia's war in Ukraine is changing global order, as well as China saber-rattling with Taiwan and in the South China Sea.
I mean, we're already going back and forth with Iran right now, so looking for volunteers, it would probably be even harder at this point, which is why I decided to fire up Google Trends and see just how people feel about this entire war. So one term that came to mind when this draft began, again, you know, this hasn't happened since the 1970s, suddenly pushing for it would surprise a lot of kids. But before we even get into the shocking numbers here, I want to ask you guys, would you voluntarily send your kids off to war for this administration? Just comment a quick yes or no on that one. And while you guys are at it, go ahead and smash the like button for the video. Y'all know that we need more people to understand what is happening right here in our country, and to stay updated on everything that's going on around us, just simply subscribe to the channel and turn on all notifications. Appreciate that, guys. So let's see what's trending, shall we? That spike at the end was right around the time when Iran attacked US troops, and the concern is understandable. I mean, these kids, they know that not a lot of buddies are volunteering to fight, but a draft could mean that many of them might not have a choice in the matter. Now, apart from this term, there was also more searches for draft 2023, 2023 draft military, and US draft, meaning that yes, the concern is definitely real. The concern also looks to be coming from Generation Z, or probably the generation who helped vote President Biden into office. The problem now is it looks like they're not aware of what they actually voted for, which reminds me, guys, I asked some time ago about including information into the ballots to make us more aware of how our lawmakers vote, but let's go a step further. What do you guys think about ballots including their list of achievements too? I mean, when you're applying for a job, you have to say what you studied, where you studied, what's your experience. They're even going to call your references to confirm if you're a good worker. But the president of the United States, they can give you empty promises and they still get voted in. So how is it that requirements for them to hold power for 4 years seems to be less compared to how Americans apply for work? But alas, let's get back on topic and let's just call it for what it is. President Biden is supportive of wars, and he's probably going to get us into World War III with Iran. Now, with that, do you guys think that votes should be recorded? Like, oh, you voted this way? That guy's starting a war in Iran right now? Welcome to the draft. How do you think that people would vote then? Because when you vote somebody in, the expectation is that you're supporting what they believe in and what they're pushing for, right? Because that will probably scare the pants off of a lot of voters. You know, this reminds me of what happened recently with Hillary Clinton. Do you guys know about this? Oh, wait, let me grab the footage for you guys.
Can you please make a statement about President Joe Biden's speech? This is a clearly warmongering speech. President Joe Biden is calling for $100 billion of funding for Israel, Taiwan, and Ukraine, and we're supposed to just bundle these together and pretend like we're going to rush to World War III, and we're all just going to let Hillary Rodham Clinton sit here. And, okay.
I'm
yes.
sorry. You know,
yes.
This is not. This is not the way to have a conversation.
I'm sorry.
If you want to have a conversation, you're welcome to come talk to me afterwards.
You can sit here. Okay, right. You're gonna wait for me, right? Please, I do not believe you.
Listen to you, and I will respond.
I do not believe you. Respectfully, I do not believe you.
In 50 years, Hillary went from a college protester to cutting college protesters off, and it went on.
Fact of the matter is that the American people's voice are what need to be heard.
Yeah,
because our president is not speaking for the American people, and neither are you.
That's your opinion. That's your opinion.
Yes, that's my opinion.
Well, then sit down. We've heard your opinion. Thank you very much.
What I have done is I have asked Hillary Rodham Clinton to denounce the president's openly warmongering, suicidal, idiotic speech.
And
that's what I've asked.
Answer. I will
that's
not
what I've done.
So that's the end of our conversation. But I'll still meet you outside. But you're done.
Wow. Any thoughts on that? I guess what these lawmakers and government officials fail to realize is that these wars, these conflicts with countries that don't necessarily like us at all, they're not fought by politicians. They're fought by soldiers and possibly even this young man if the draft was to take place today. All of this commotion has gotten even former President Donald Trump into the mix, and he's saying that he's the guy to go to if we want to avoid World War III.
To every American who is petrified that Joe Biden's catastrophic weakness will bring our country to ruin, I make you this promise. As your president, I will restore peace through strength. And yes, I will prevent World War III. We are very close to World War III, and we will prevent it. I know all the players.
So do you think that Donald Trump would be able to keep us from war? Or is this something that needs to happen? Let me know what you guys think down below. And before I go, I want to thank you guys for being here. Thanks for dropping a like for the video. Thank you for subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.